friends and family, and welcome back to a new art video. Today we are learning how to draw a Pokemon. And if you couldn't tell already by my desk, I am a big Pokemon fan. If you don't know what Pokemon is, here's just a quick description of it. It originated as a Japanese video game with Pokemon, or pocket monsters. And basically in the game you collect these Pokemon, you battle them, and you go on an adventure together. I never personally played the video game when I was a kid, but I did watch the anime or cartoon when I got a little bit older. Pokemon is a worldwide sensation. It's everywhere in pop culture. So if you somehow haven't heard of it before, you have now. There are hundreds of Pokemon that you can collect, and these are just a few of my favorites in plushie form. These are actually my book buddies that my students love to read with at school. Because there are hundreds of Pokemon, more than what would fit in one video, we're gonna stick to drawing probably the most famous Pokemon out there, Pikachu. Pikachu is the most famous Pokemon out there, the one that everybody recognizes. So without further ado, let's get started. Things you will need today are a blank white sheet of paper, a Sharpie, and a pencil if you'd like to sketch things out first. You'll also want some coloring supplies. Remember that a Sharpie isn't likely to smudge if you color with markers over it, but if you're using any other water-based product, you're going to want to color with colored pencils or crayons so your lines don't smudge as bad. Jumping right into the actual drawing. I always like to start out with the center of the face, so we're going to start with Pikachu's nose, which is going to be a small, black, upside-down triangle. After that, I'm going to add the mouth, which looks like a little sideways 3. I'm going to make his mouth open, so I'm going to put a U shape in between those two little humps. We're also going to add a little tongue in the middle to make it look really cute. And next up are his eyes. I want to space them about an equal distance apart on the side of his nose. I'm just drawing small round circles and trying to get them about the same size and shape. We're also going to add a small dot in the center of the eye that's going to be the reflective highlight. I'm then just shading in the rest of the eye with my black Sharpie. You can see that his eyes are on the sides of his mouth, not close together. Next up, we're going to go ahead and add in his little forehead. So in between the two eyes, I'm going to draw a curved line. I'm now going to shape out the rest of his face, starting with his cheeks. So underneath the mouth, I'm going to make a curved line that goes up to the bottom part of his eye. And you can see it kind of looks like a smiley face on the side. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side here. To wrap up his face shape, I'm going to draw a curved line up to the top of his head, but I'm going to leave a little bit of space to connect his ears. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, so a curved line up to the forehead with a little space in between to add in the ears. For the ears, I'm going to draw a curved line out and in, kind of like little bunny ears, and they're going to be slightly pointed on the top. Gonna match the same shape on the other side. Pikachu also has little black tips on his ears, so I'm gonna draw a slight frowny face shape on the tip of the ear and shade in the top of it with my Sharpie. I'm doing the same thing on the other side, so a slight frowny face and then shading it in. This next part gets a little tricky, but we're going to go ahead and add in Pikachu's arms. I'm going to line it up with the side of his head and just draw a straight line down, leaving a little bit of space underneath his head. You want to make sure that his arms are pretty long so that your Pikachu isn't too short and squat. So leave a little space underneath the head, then draw the arm down as low as you want your Pikachu's body to be. I also added 5 tiny little humps for his fingers. You can do as many as you'd like. Now I'm going to do the other arm. I'm going to space it out about the width of his nose. So draw a short line down and put his little humps for the fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm going to come up and match that side of the arm with the other one. Pikachu is going to be sitting on his legs and his arms like a dog, so I'm going to draw his little belly by connecting a line in between his two arms. And then we're going to draw his feet. We want him kind of pointing outward. Pikachu has oval-shaped feet, so on the right side, I'm going to start by drawing an oval shape pointing outward to be his foot. I did leave a little bit of space to connect the foot to the body. I'm going to make that same oval shape on the other side, leaving that little bit of space. You can see how his feet kind of point outward. Now that I've got the 2 feet sketched out, I'm going to go ahead and connect them to the legs. So I'm going to draw his hips by making a small bump that connects the arm to the foot. Kind of looks like a little smiley face. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And now we got to draw the hips. We're going to make it look like he's sitting. I'm drawing a hump up to the top of his arm, and then a little hump to connect it to the head. We're doing the same thing on the other side. My Pikachu is a little chunky, but he's cute. Our Pikachu's body is done, but we have some more details to add. We're going to give him some little toes on each foot, so 2 small lines to make it look like he has 3 toes. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Now for that iconic lightning bolt tail. We're going to start with a zigzag shape. I like to start at the top, kind of where his ears are, and make a diagonal line going down. That's going to be the top part of his tail. Then we're going to make a zigzag shape going down to connect it to his body. So I'm going to go in, and then I'm going to take a line back out towards his cheek. And I'm going to go in and back out one more time until it connects to his bottom. Now I just have to mirror the shape on the other side, making it wider at the top and thinner at the bottom. Starting at the top, I'm going to make a straight line across. This is going to be the width of his tail, so you want to make it quite wide at the top. And each time that we come in with our diagonal line, we want to bring it in a little bit thinner. So I'm starting at the top and coming in just a little ways. Then I'm going to go back out to match that zigzag shape. I'm going to come in, and you can see I made it a little bit thinner. I'm going to go back out, and then come in at its thinnest point. Pikachu also has a little zigzag shape on the bottom of his tail. There's still one thing that we're missing, and it's those bright red cheeks. We cannot have Pikachu without the cheek. So on the side of his face, I'm going to go ahead and draw a circle. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to try and copy it on the other side here. And I really think that just finishes up the piece and makes it look like Pikachu. Of course, he's in my style. He's a little bit chunkier than the real one, but I think he's cute. And I've noticed that every time someone does a tutorial, it looks different. So make sure you tag me in your drawing on Facebook or Snapchat so I can see how yours turned out. That being said, we're not finished yet. I'm going to go ahead and add a little shadow underneath just to give it a little bit more dimension. I don't like to just leave things floating on a piece of paper. I like to make it look like they're sitting there. And now we're going to add some color. I'm keeping it very basic, making his body this golden yellow color. Make sure that if you're coloring with markers to color in small circles, that way you don't have all the streaky lines. You can see that I didn't quite let my Sharpie dry all the way, so there's a few black smudges, but I wasn't too worried about it. We're just going to be coloring in the top part of his tail yellow, as the bottom part's going to be brown. You can see me pointing out the different places where the Sharpie smudged, so make sure to let your line art dry before you go in with color. I am going to be shading it later, so I wasn't too concerned about it. Next, I'm going in with my brown to finish up the bottom part of his tail. And then it's time to color in those bright red cheeks. I actually did kind of like a reddish pink color. I just thought it would look more cute. I'm also going to shade the inside part of his mouth with this color too. I'm making his tongue a lighter pink shade. You can leave your Pikachu like that, but for a little bit more advanced of a tutorial, we're going to add in some shading with a darker yellow. If you don't have a darker yellow color, you can also use a light orange. I'm pretending that the light is in the center of the page, shining outwards. And we're going to add shadows underneath any overlapping parts and on the outside of each shape. You can see that I shade underneath his head, on the outside of his ears, around his belly, and his legs. I also will shade on the outside of his feet, his arms, his tail, and the rest of his head. I really think that shading just adds more dimension to your piece, and once you've gotten a little bit more advanced, it's a good challenge to try and add it to your different drawings. It takes lots of practice to figure out where the shading should go. Even mine isn't perfect, but it's all about the learning process and getting better. Your art does not have to be perfect. Nobody's perfect, and the important thing is that we're always improving and we're always drawing. I also added a bit of shading underneath his mouth and above his nose. I took a darker red to shade his cheeks into to make them look more round. This is a white gel pen. You can get them from the dollar store or Walmart. I like to use them to add just little small highlights. I think it really adds a lot to the piece. So I'm going to add a small dot inside of his eyes. I'm also going to add small dots on his cheeks to make them look shiny. And there you have it, guys. That is how to draw Pikachu in my style. Make sure to tag me if you do wind up trying this tutorial yourself.
Pikachu, Pika Pika.